Hey guys, welcome back to the Snap-Ring Chronicles. Today we're coming back at you with another ratchet video. This one is a vintage Crescent ratchet, and this one is the CS70. But as always, before we jump into this, if you find these videos helpful or enjoyable, could you please give me a like and also subscribe to this channel. Okay, so today we have this Crescent CS70, and it says Jamestown, New York, USA, and it has the patent number, US patent 27159, looks like 55, and it also has an A here. These were made by Wright for Crescent, and Wright had their own version of this. Theirs was called the Wright N70, and there's, instead of a ring switch, I think they had two different switches. I'm not sure if Wright just had this disc switch or if they had the other switch. The other switch that I saw the Wright have, it's a star. It's kind of a star switch. But I did see them also have this disc switch. And the A, that's a date code for Wright. The letter A stands for the year 1961. So this was made in 1961 for Crescent, and it has kind of a short handle, kind of a small handle here, but well knurled. The knurling is pretty good on this. It's really grippy, but like I said, not a big handle. And it's a 1/2-inch drive ratchet, and this is kind of a treat. It's an interesting mechanism, not the usual round head mechanisms that you will see with the teetering pawl a la SK. This one has something a bit different. Okay, so let's open it up and see what we have. Okay, you're gonna need a screwdriver, a Phillips head. There's 3 Phillips head screws holding this ratchet together. We start with the switch Phillips head, and this is just a short stubby Phillips head screw, machine screw, and then we pull off the switch. The switch is a heavy disc. It feels solid. Here's a look. Here it's pretty squared off. Here it's a bit chamfered, I guess, to accommodate the screw. Fitting in there kind of flush. And you can see there's some pitting in there. I need to get in there with a little tiny brush and really knock out that a little bit of rust in there. But also the switch is knurled, as you can see on the edges. And here is the inner switch. It's squared. That's how the disc switch fits onto this square post. And now we take the other 2 screws off. Okay, these are a bit longer. A little bit longer machine screws, and you want to keep your hand in the back here because this disc wants to fall out like that. And this has a couple of parts in it which I'd rather not fall out. Okay, you could do it gently. And here's, before we get to that, here's the the other disc that helps keep the mechanism together. And it's held together by 2 screws, and those are the holes for the screws there. And you can see the screws there, the ridges, the threading for the screws. Okay, and here is the mechanism. It should slide out, and we'll look at that in a second. Here's the head, 2 channels on each side cut in, and this is a pretty coarse ratchet. This ratchet is I believe 28 teeth, so not even 30 teeth on this ratchet. You can see how big those teeth are. They're pretty huge, the teeth. And I think it's pretty asymmetrical. I guess you can put the mechanism in either way because the cutouts look about the same size. Okay. Oh, did I show the teeth? I think I did. Well, that's what they look like. Looks like this got some use. You see a little bit of a wear and lines on the teeth. Not too bad though. Okay, here's the interesting part. Here's the mechanism. Now check this out. We have the switch post with a big mushroom plunger, and there's a spring underneath that plunger. And let me see if I can get enough torque on this. And this switches like that. So the mushroom plunger, it moves against whichever pawl, and then it has this wire, this wire holding both of swinging wire holding both pawls together. So as the plunger pushes, oh, there it wants to come out. As the plunger pushes one pawl to one side, it drags the other pawl in with the wire, so it gets it out of the way, so it's able to ratchet in the other direction. But remove the wire. Okay. Here's the wire. I don't know, I'm kind of skeptical about mechanisms that have like that their reliability relies on just a wire being intact. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Obviously this ratchet survived, so who knows, but just those ratchets that you need a little wire or a wire to keep them intact and working is kind of, I don't know, it just I just think it's not the most reliable. Okay, here are the pawls. That's what the pawls look like. Today is having trouble focusing. So it has like a step tooth, so 1, 2 teeth here, and I don't know. What can I say about this? 2 teeth. It's 28 teeth altogether. They're pretty big, so the engagement, I guess, is kind of okay. Not the greatest, but I can see it working okay, you know. And it has a protrusion in the back of the pawl, and here's the other pawl. So it's just the opposite. 2 teeth stepped. It has like a little ledge here in front of the hole for the wire. It has a little protrusion in the back that fits in the hole for the cradle of the pole. And here is the switch post. Like I said, there's a big plunger and a long spring. And the plunger is hollow, so the spring sits inside of it. But that's a pretty big plunger. And here is the switch post. It's a pretty heavy piece. Like I said, it's squared here to accept the switch ring, and it has a pretty big hole to accept the big plunger. And that's what that piece looks like. All these pieces look pretty well machined. This looks pretty good. I mean, it doesn't look rough at all. Looks like it was well done. You don't see many machine marks on it. It looks like it was a pretty good job. Okay, and here is the mechanism housing. Another well cut piece. This looks very good. You see there's some chamfering here in the cradle for the pawls, and you can see where it was drilled out here to hold the post for the switch, and on this side also chamfering, and everything looks very smooth. No big machine marks, no lines. I don't see any. It looks like it was a pretty well done piece. You see a little bit of lines up here, but that's nothing. No roughness. Yeah, nice. Okay, to put this all back together. So as you can see, it's a I guess a good amount of pieces here. So it's a little bit not complicated, but I don't know. Just like the more pieces you figure, the more things can go wrong. So you take the switch post, put the spring in the plunger, and you put that in, and you have that sit there. Now you take your right paw, you put that in the cradle there, and you take your left paw with the protrusion. Remember, the protrusions go in the hole, and you put that in its cradle there. Now you take the wire, the kind of interesting wire, and this is probably the most tricky part, is to get the wire to go into both holes like that. I don't know, I guess in a pinch, if you break this wire, you could probably use a paper clip. I don't know. I mean, that seems feasible. Alright, so now I like putting stuff in the way it came out. So the crescent is facing up, so I'm gonna put the anvil facing down. Okay, so it should look like that, and this is what it looks like when it's ratcheting. I don't want to go too fast because I feel like that wire wants to jump out, but this is how it looks. pretty coarse. Okay, so now you take the disc for the housing, and remember it has 2 holes. So let me see if we can. So it has 2 holes in the mechanism housing, and they have to match up with these 2 holes on the disc, because that's what the screw is going to thread into. Okay, there you get your next screw. Alright, see if it's ratcheting. Yeah, it's ratcheting. Now you take your switch disc, and remember you want the chamfering facing up and the hard square facing down, and you get that onto the post like that. You take your small screw, put that on top, and torque it down. Not too much torque, you know. This is an old ratchet. If you strip out that hole with the post, you're finished. So might as well something vintage like this, you might as well go easy. And you just test it out. Very light back drag on this ratchet. Yeah, seems pretty light. Okay guys, so that's the teardown of the Crescent CS70 ratchet from Crescent, obviously, but made by Wright in 1961. Okay guys, till next time.